Okay, we're good. Do it again. Call this meeting to order. This is the regular town board meeting in the town of East Troy. It's April 8th, 2024, and it's 6:40.
Yep.
6:40 p.m. Roll call, Chairman Clarkowski here.
Wales here.
Reyes here. Church here.
Okay, Bill Wicker's excused. He had a family medical emergency, so he's actually up in Waukesha right now, so he will not be here. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. First order of business, swearing in 2 new town board supervisors. So Kim will come. Where are you gonna do it?
We're doing one at a time. Tyson first.
Oh, I'm first.
Okay.
Lucky.
Please raise your right hand. I, please state your name,
I, Tyson Leonard,
having been elected
having been elected
to the office of
to the office of
town board supervisor,
town board supervisor,
but have not yet entered
but have not yet entered
upon the duties thereof,
upon the duties thereof,
swear that I will support
swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of said office
the duties of said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
This is your official.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Joe, you're up. I, please state your name,
I, Joseph Johnner,
have been elected
have been elected
to the office of
to the office of
town board supervisors,
Town Board Supervisors,
but have not yet entered
but have not yet entered
upon the duties thereof,
upon the duties thereof,
swear that I will support
swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of said office
the duties of said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
There you go. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You might want to mention that it starts then because it starts at the annual meeting.
Just for the record, just so you gentlemen know, your term actually starts the day of the annual meeting.
Yeah.
Right? April 16th. Okay, are all of our postings in order for tonight's meeting?
Yes, they are.
All right, approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for the regular town board meeting for April 8th, 2024 as presented.
Second.
Our church, second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. All right, we have some minutes to approve. First one is the plan commission meeting minutes, and Bill is not here. The minutes are in the record, so anybody can make a motion to approve the minutes of the March 6th and the March 20th plan commission minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Town of East Troy Planning Commission minutes for March 6th and March 20th as presented.
You have a second?
I do have some edits.
Okay, what do you got?
In the March 6th, on section 2, about midway down, just a simple one. It was made clear by commissioners that the letters from the arborist and architect that were mentioned in the applicant's letter were not included in his packet instead of was not.
Okay,
On March 6th. On March 20th, in the attendance, Commissioner Gordon is not indicated as present or absent. Do we know? Is
Absent.
he an
She,
alternate or is he?
She was
She's-
absent.
Oh, okay. So that just should probably be marked up.
okay, then we'll need a new motion to say as amended.
I make a motion that we approve the Town of East Troy Planning Commission minutes for March 6th and March 20th as amended.
All right. Do we-
I'll second.
Michelle, second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. Then we have the regular board meeting from March 11th. Looks like we have 6 pages. And I believe I had one mark. Page 3, under media IT, the last bullet, engaging manner, MANNER. Manner. That's all I had. Oh, no. Yeah, that was it. That's all I had. Anybody have any other marks on
I
March
did not.
11th?
I had on page 4 in the ETAESD report, sub-bullet number 2, 111 EMS calls in the month of January. I think month is missing there. And I wasn't sure, but as I read through, then in that report, the 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth bullet, I think this was the March meeting, right? But
No, it was February.
Okay. But these were the minutes from the March meeting, right? So I
No,
just wanted to
They
make
were
sure.
not.
Okay.
They were the February minutes because we
For-
did
oh,
not have
for
the
the-
March meeting until March 26th.
Okay, yeah, I was looking at the town.
Okay.
Okay,
Makes sense.
all right. Anything else, Chad? You find anything? Nope. Nope. All right, motion then to approve the regular board meeting from March 11th with the 2 changes, 3 changes.
I make a motion that we approve the Town of East Troy board meeting minutes for Monday, March 11th as amended.
All right. we
I'll
have
second.
Chad, second. Discussion? Hearing none. On the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. All right, I believe that was all for meeting minutes. Clerk treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report for March 2024, total receipts were $54,210.30. Transfers for March were $513,000. Interest earned was $539.20. Balance as of February 29th was $22,991.35. Total funds for March were $590,740.85. Checks paid in March were $552,963.26, leaving a balance of $37,777.59.
Okay, any questions for Kim?
In the full the full budget report, for the quarter, thank you for adding the column that says percent. So like this was through February, so 2 months.
Correct.
So that would normally be like about 16%, I think I calculated out of the year. And in expenditures, we've got a couple of things that are over 100%.
Like the town hall building, because we did not know when the payments would land. So that will have to be a budget amendment. So that's why that's at 294%. So it'll be a budget amendment later this year, once the building is complete and we've made our final payments.
So we had projected some of it would spill in, it's carryover from last year?
Yeah, because it was paid in 2024. even though it was a 2023 expense and had to be booked to 2023.
Okay. And then the building inspection is the other one?
Building
On
inspections,
expenditures seems.
fire protection. Also will have to be a budget amendment because that was a payment that we paid district for the radios. And that was not budgeted for because they told us their budget capital expense would be $50,000. So that'll also be a budget amendment.
And I think, Barb, there were a lot of permanent positions added as well, right?
No.
To the fire districts?
2 years ago.
We already were budgeting for an assistant chief and a deputy chief and a sergeant or lieutenant. I think.
Those are all in the capital budget.
So they.
Capital
we
or
already knew-
operating?
Operating.
It should be operating.
We have
knew
a
that was
5-year
coming.
operating plan that we presented to you,
Right,
and that's part of the 5-year operating.
so that was, we knew before we budgeted, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then Kim has his normal March report, which is heavy on elections. Any questions on in the packet?
I see you attended the candidate forum. Now, was that just out of curiosity? or-
I'm sorry?
I see you attended the candidate forum. Was that just out of curiosity?
That was the one
or-
at the McConaughey Baptist Church.
Okay.
So it was very interesting, actually. It was very well run.
Mhm.
So
All right. All right, motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I make a motion that we accept the Town of East Troy Treasurer's Report for the month of March as presented.
Second.
Okay, second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carried. All right, and then you had another line item listed,
to use ARPA money for the .gov.
conversion.
Barb had done the grant, but it was only $600. But because having the police department and everything migrating over, it was quite a lengthy, involved process. So that's why the costs were so high. And we initially had budgeted in ARPA money like 12 grand, and we only used between 5 and 6. So this is just
Okay,
part of that project.
so we should have a motion on that to get that approved by the board.
What do we have left?
ARPA.
Let's say
About 42.
after, if you take this out.
Oh, no, before we take
Before
this
we
out,
take
we have
this out,
about
okay.
42, which would get us down to around 35 left. That's undesignated as a
Which we have to designate by the end of the year.
1,000 or 100?
35,000. Sorry.
Okay, motion, anybody?
I'll make a motion that the town pay Taylor Computer Services, Inc., $6,080.45 for the migration to .gov.
From the
Using
ARPA
ARPA.
funds.
Oh, using ARPA funds.
Using our funds. Okay.
I'll second.
Michelle, second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. Very good. I think we're done with you, Kim?
Yep.
All right. Public comments period number 1.
Number only.
Anybody have any public comments? So, 4 minutes. Come up, Joe. Joe Jones.
109033 East Miramar.
Thank you.
Tonight, I was just really addressing a fairness and equal treatment to all town residents issue that I thought was worth talking about and bringing to your attention. Tonight, per the agenda, you will be voting on a resolution from the Planning Commission regarding a conditional use permit for the Lake Beulah Yacht Club. I'm not here tonight to speak in favor or against the resolution. However, I took particular notice of this request because it seems very similar to a request made by Cash Bar Enterprises last summer in '23. I'll review the similarities here briefly. I only got 4 minutes. Outdoor seating, 135 for Cash Bar Enterprises. Public venue accessible to all. May through October, hours of operation 11 to 10 p.m. The application was submitted with one letter of support from Jim Butler. Public comments, there was one person that spoke in support, happens to be the same person that spoke in support for the Lake Beulah Yacht Club as well. And there were 72 people supported on social media. They were going to do an outdoor music venue, which would have been subject to town noise ordinance, just like the Lake Beulah Yacht Club, which I assume will have some level of music. The venue is, both of them are proposed within 100 feet of the Lake Beulah lakeshore, or the shoreline. And the planning, the capacity for the clubhouse and outdoor maximum is 175 with seating for 150, and it was not designated Wednesday night whether what the limitation, outdoor limitation was for seating at the yacht club. It's a private club available to 180 households only. It runs May to October, however, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. with special events under permit by the town running to midnight. So I expect there will be some outdoor music via speakers or something. So everybody's subject to noise ordinance. The Planning Commission approved the conditional use for Cash Bar Enterprises on July 19th last year. And they approved the conditional use 8-3 last Wednesday. And so both were sent to the board for approval. Cash Bar Enterprises was asked to endure 4 separate meetings and finally gave up his request after the runaround. The board sent his request back to the Planning Commission for additional public comment. Lake Beulah Yacht Club went through 1 meeting for approval, and it is now in your hands tonight for approval or to be sent back to the Planning Commission for more public comments as you see fit. I find it very difficult to believe that the Lake Beulah Yacht Club is installing pavers in this grassy area to maintain the status quo. I suspect a larger number of people will congregate outside as a result. It is reasonable to expect there will be further modifications to the clubhouse to better serve food and beverages to the outdoor patrons, and I expect there will be an outside music in some form. Sounds like a potential for greater noise than experienced today. Just like Cash Bar Enterprises. I see no difference between these 2 proposals since they both were approved by the Planning Commission and by Walworth County. They both are within approximately 100 feet of the Lake Beulah shoreline, and the loudest complaint about the Cash Bar Enterprises proposal was the sound carries for a much longer distance on a body of water. This primary noise complaint seems to apply to both applications. My comments tonight are purely intended to bring attention to a situation which doesn't feel like even treatment and fairness. I don't have a personal connection with either of these proposals as I do not live near Lake Beulah. However, I do understand why last summer's, I do not understand. Oh, it beeped?
Finish it up.
Okay, it's very quick. Understand why last summer's applicant was put through a ringer. I think both of these proposals and all B3 properties should be approved, as does the Planning Commission and Walworth County.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. All right. Public comments, come on up, name and address.
John Graham, N9585 Horseshoe Lane.
Can you spell your last name, please, John?
Grayhack.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Later this evening, you're going to be looking at and voting on a thing from the Planning Commission regarding our property. My wife and I own a spot on Lake Beulah and in Mill Pond, if you will, near Jay. And it's a very steep hill, 30 degrees. And the hill is cut off at the bottom by a retaining wall that runs all the way across. We have about a 6-foot flat thing in front of the thing. The wall and the stairs, which kind of wind down, are all made of railroad ties. The railroad ties have all disintegrated after 45 years, and there's bees and vermin and stuff in there, and the guy tells us he can't keep replacing them. So we have to tear out the stairs, which means we have to tear out the retaining wall, and the law says we have to put the retaining wall right back where it is. With all of this, we wanted to put in a boathouse. Both of our neighbors to the right and the left have large boathouses, 25, 30 feet. The one on the south side is 45 feet and it's their whole house. The one on the right side is 25 feet by 25 feet, is owned by the Zaders. And actually Mrs. Zader is here to kind of say she thinks it's a great place where we're trying to put this. Our landscape architect, who's also here, will explain the idea of a viewing corridor, which is one of the 3 variances we asked for. It was apparent to me that I didn't understand what the planning committee wanted to hear from me. I've never presented anything like that. And so I'm going to present it to you in a really short fashion, as quickly as I can. There are 3 variances. One is placing it closer to the lot line. We have 2 mature oak trees, which are down there. We've had an arborist look at it. And if you move it further up onto the trees, the tree has a high chance of dying. If we keep it back by the retaining wall, we save the 2 trees, presumably. We can't really move the walkway coming down, the stair coming down, because it's very steep. And if you move the stairway, it greatly increases the erosion because you have to pull that out and rebuild the whatever. So we're sort of stuck in this corner. And in that corner, in order to clear the potting part of where the trees are, it has to be a little bit nearer to the lot line. So instead of 3 feet away, it has to be 1.5 feet, and that makes it 10 feet wide. The walls of the building have to be 1 foot thick because there's a hill behind it. So it has to be a big hill that goes down. The height of the hill makes the back wall 11.5 feet instead of 10 feet. Those are the 3 variances. It has to be closer to the lot line. It has to be higher in the hill. And it's a viewing corridor, which I can't explain. And I tried to explain it the other day. And it turns out the planning commission really, they read it once, but nobody gets it. And that's why actually Mike came. And he's going to stand up and take 2 minutes to explain that because I can't possibly do it. So if you look at our property from the top, there's this lovely house with a thing that my wife built. And then there's a stairwell that comes down, and here's where the boathouse goes. The boathouse is right next to the Zaders, which is this very large boathouse. And over here is the other boathouse. The retaining wall comes across, the house has to be back there. The door is only about 4 feet wide, and if you move it over anymore, the door can only be about 3 feet wide. And the house starts getting smaller and smaller. It's only 8 feet inside because the walls are all 10 feet wide and we're only allowed a certain amount. So it's not very big. It's in the cutest little corner we could get, but the variances are next to the lot line. See how many things I got? You go to FedEx and you get a lot of stuff. Next to the lot line, it has to be a little closer. The place it's next to is another big boathouse, so there's nothing going on in that corner. It has to have space here to put in the thing. It has to be a little bit higher, okay? Anyway, all of our neighbors signed letters, all 4, 2 on each side said letters that said they thought it was good. Gina made the trip here to kind of say that she thinks it's good. And I'm just asking that you guys look at this again. I'm sorry that Bill isn't here. I'm sorry that Bill has a medical emergency. I should say I'm sorry about that. He actually was the one person who voted for or proposed all 3 things be approved. And so I think he kind of gets it. He went out there and looked at it. Anyway, that's my deal. We're trying to save the trees, trying to keep the hill from falling into the lake, and trying to put a boathouse because our hardship is we have a bunch of stuff down there that we have to haul up the hill. My time's up. Haul up the hill every
I have
time.
the same hardship.
Do you? We have 3 boys. It doesn't help.
I have 4 kids, I get it.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Thank you.
All right. Was there a-
So I'm Mike McCurdy. I'm the landscape architect that's been working on this project.
Mike, can you spell your last name, please?
MCCURDY,
Address?
W174N4971, Sheffield Court, Menominee Falls.
Okay, thank you.
So we've gone through many iterations on the project with Darren Swanky over at Walworth County, and he helped us come up with the variances that we needed to request for this project. The one that is kind of difficult to understand is the view and access corridor. And the way it's determined is you have to determine what your shore yard is, and the shore yard is determined by an average of the distance that the neighbors are both set off from the lake or the high water mark. So in this case, it's 66 feet on this side and 5 feet on this side. So the distance back here is 36 feet. So that's the shore yard. Then the view and access corridor can be 35% of your footage, which is 75 feet wide. So the access corridor they're allowed is roughly 26 feet. But in order to get the boathouse in here with the stairs where they are, it would have to extend to about 30 feet, 4 inches. So that is how they came up with the the view and access corridor. And Darren Swanky indicates that he'd like to keep it as a contiguous access corridor, not several corridors split across the property, which is one of the other reasons that we're really trying to keep the boathouse in this location.
All right. As you know, on variances, we are advisory.
Yep.
And they can accept our recommendation or our resolution. They can deny it.
Yep.
Plan on doing the same thing you just did here, there? Because that'll be very helpful. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Thank you for your
All right,
time.
thank you. That was 2 minutes, you did it good. All right, anybody else, public comments?
Gina Zader, Z-A-D-E-R,
Thank you, and your address.
North 9587 Horseshoe Lane.
Thank you.
So I live next to John and Julie. Our house is the boathouse that is right next to the one that they're going to build, and we have a larger boathouse. We are all for them building a boathouse. We don't have a problem with them coming closer to our lot line. We live on that same hill that they have to go up and down, and it is actually quite dangerous when you're constantly carrying, equipment down to the boathouse, things that you need fixed, pots, and if you're taking food down, it's not easy, and people have fallen trying to do that. So for safety reasons, and we're fine with it, I hope that it gets approved.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, please.
The way you've explained it, there's probably a narrow space between the two boathouses.
So there
Does-
there is a little bit of an old retaining wall partially that's going to be between it. It's just some old rocks. It's pretty low.
My question is, do you have erosion? Is there going to be a rush of rain that comes down there between the two boathouses?
No, the way we actually have a retaining wall that's built up even behind our boathouse. So there won't be a rush of water going through there. There never has been.
Okay, I was
So-
just worried about water going into the lake from the yard and stuff. like
Yeah,
that.
no, we have a very large old retaining wall that's behind our boathouse.
Thank you. Without having seen it in person,
It's hard to describe unless we actually
Yeah.
do. I should have taken pictures.
that's
I
okay.
actually have a board that has some pictures, but-
Well,
Yeah.
I think I get the idea. I won't be able to see it from you standing here, but I get the idea, and I just wanted to make sure there wasn't gonna be a waterfall of water.
No, there will
Got it.
not be any issues with that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You got a question?
Not for you, actually for you, Chairman Tarkowski. I have some questions when we get to that point. Are we able
Yes.
to address?
Yes,
I just
there'll be
don't
a
wanna keep
discussion.
going here.
We're gonna do the normal, motion,
Okay.
second discussion. So, all right, any more comments? John? I didn't start yet.
So I'd like to touch briefly on the Graylocks proposed ordinances there. I've been to their property 2 or 3 times over the years, and I know exactly what they're trying to describe there with the viewing corridor. And they're already at a handicap there because normally most people that have a boathouse on Lake Beulah have relatively flat ground, 12% or less slope, and they're afforded 400 square feet with a peak of like 13 and a half or 14 feet on a roof. Well, these guys are trying to build a 150 square foot, basically a glorified shed. And I think it would be decent and civil of the town to give them 3 variances they need so they can preserve the trees, do as least detrimental to the shoreline over there. And I think it would be the best thing for them and for the community here. All right, I want to shift gears over onto the other item that's going to be up on the agenda. It's going to be under the Planning Commission report. It's going to be number 3. And I was at the Planning Commission meeting a week ago, and I spoke in favor of the proposed conditional use permit modification or new permit, however you want to look at it. And I'm hoping that the board will be favorable to the conditional use at the yacht club. And moving forward, I hope the new board will be favorable to other B3 zone properties in the township. This lake is kind of dying on the vine as far as commercial activities for people. If you're a member of the yacht club, you have the yacht club and you have dockside. If you're not a member of the yacht club, you have a dockside, Lulabells. So basically, you don't have a lot of choices. So it would be in the best interest of the community to give the people that aren't members at the yacht club another option on the lake. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Anybody else? Okay,
I would just like to thank Supervisor Wales for his 3 years of service. We kind of both came into it together, learned a lot, had a steep learning curve. Certainly appreciate your knowledge as it comes to the lake activities, your open thoughts, the work that you did on our emergency government report. That was a big project, something that wasn't easy to take on in a short period of time. Your work on the Booth Lake Memorial Park, I know you spent a lot of hours there doing a lot to support the new caretakers and all of the other activities, the big events last summer and things like that. So really appreciate your service. Understand everyone has a busy life and family and work obligations, things like that, but maybe some year down in the future, we'll see you again.
Never know, right?
Yeah, and then also welcome to Tyson and Joe. Certainly appreciate the fact that we're new ideas, new opinions on the board. Certainly no one who's a town resident here would be considered an outsider. Everyone should be feel empowered to participate in our government, and appreciate you dedicating your time to do so, because as I learned, it's a little more than a part-time job. And oftentimes it's kind of like being a referee, right? You can't please everyone. It's kind of oftentimes a no-win situation. So appreciate your efforts to get involved and participate on the board, and welcome you.
in case some of the people here will not be at the annual meeting, normally at the annual meeting, we'll give a official thanks to the outgoing members, Bill and yourself. And I have to say, your 3 years of service, you did exactly what you said you were going to do. Your opinion is going to not be swayed by anything or anybody, and you held to it, and you took on the jobs that were given you, and very good. So I thank you also. Okay, reports of committees. For my report, I only had 2 major meetings. I had a bunch of phone calls, but my major meetings were on March 14th. Walworth County Unit had their meeting in Elkhorn. We had speakers there from the planning group at the county, as well as the road contractors that do road maintenance. Actually, Barb in her report kind of details all that happened at that meeting. On 3/19, a Troy meeting, and we're continuing our discussion with the fire chiefs. We still think there's an opportunity to be investigated here about having a true Troy fire district. It started about a year ago, and it looks like we got some traction, and you'll be hearing more about that in the future. So it's coming up. All right, Barb, anything to add on your report that's in the packet?
Yeah, at the WTA meeting, the Walworth County Unit, we heard from Corporate Counsel Michael Cotter and Senior Planner Kate Hastings. They gave a really good informational overview as to how the Planning Commission works with the county on projects that come before them. So the Gray Hacks, and Mr. McCurdy talked about speaking with Darren Schwenke, and Mr. Cotter and Kate Hastings talked about how they work with Mr. Schwenke and how the Walworth County Land Use Resource Management Department proceeds through proposals that come before them. The other thing is that Deputy Clerk Loth and Superintendent Shield and I are working on a grant for a refueling transfer switch that we will work on after the annual meeting and get it submitted by the end of April. It's a $10,000 grant to help us create a refueling transfer switch, which allows us, Todd, if I get this wrong, please correct me, but it allows the diesel to run off a generator in the event that we lose power, which in this neighborhood is frequently.
Yeah, it would also help, fire department as a quick trip and all that, and their stations go down, heaven forbid, tornado, something major comes through. It's another source where emergency vehicles can come and get fuel.
Yeah. It's a $10,000 grant that we're working on, so we're hoping to get that. We will get that submitted by the end of April. So we've been
So that's
working on it.
separate from the generators we're purchasing for the buildings.
It's tied in.
Tied
In
tied
addition
in with
to-
it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be money that we would get back after initially they're installed.
Okay.
The generators will help allow the refueling switches to work in the
Yeah.
event that there's no
If we didn't
power.
have the generators, yeah.
If we don't have the generators, the
Right.
refueling switches don't work.
Okay, thank you very much.
Joe, may I be recognized?
Yes, please.
Barb, it mentions here that there is also discussion regarding public assembly and noise.
County.
That is more coming at the April 30th, Walworth County meeting. Mr. Cotter only alluded to, there was a lot of controversy that was stirred up by Walworth County in their, and I forget the name of the Chief Gurecki. Do you remember the name of the bar that had the Walworth County that was talking to them? I thought it was down in
There
Olivet.
were a couple that.
I think it's like
were,
Bob Badger, Badger Bob's.
Bob's,
Badger Bob's.
Mars Resort and Brewster Beck's Brewing.
Right.
Okay, yes.
And they said they actually tabled it or threw it back for a year where they are going to work on tightening up the noise ordinance and public
And
assembly.
public assembly.
But they took no action, I believe.
Yeah, they're having issues kind of countywide, so they're actually going into it to probably revise their ordinances on that. So,
With businesses,
yes.
is what
He,
they're
he,
businesses.
Mr. Cotter alluded to there being more information at the April 30th meeting that is coming up for planning commission and county supervisors and municipal supervisors who choose to go to the Walworth County meeting to learn what we need to put into proposals that get sent to the county. One of the things that we learned was that there can never be too much information sent to the county because they need as much information as the towns can provide them so that when they're debating the proposal, they have as much information to support or deny that proposal.
And there's a zoning workshop being put on by the county and the state on April 30th, 5 to 8 p.m. And really every plan commissioner and board member really should go to that because this is the first time ever that they're actually holding dedicated training for zoning.
Yeah.
All this is handled on a case-by-case basis, so this is actually pretty good, so.
I want to credit Kate Hastings, who's taken over for Matt Widensee. as a senior planner with the land use resource management in realizing that those of us that serve at the town level needed much more of a complete picture of what the county needs to make a legitimate decision on their part. It's not easy for any of us, but I think if we were all on the same page, it would make everybody's job more efficient.
Yeah, and the resolutions that we're now doing for Jen, I believe we're probably only one of two towns or villages or the whole county that actually do it. And that lays out all the terms that they were kind of searching for, but not always had all of the information. So that's been a great help too, so.
Thanks for asking, Mr. Mills. Great.
I know it's been a struggle with the planning commission and even the people with their permits were going back, which to go first and how to circle back. So I think, yeah.
One of the
much needed.
things that they talked about what Kate Hastings talked about is that there is one person at the county that they are trying to create a one-stop shop, and she is in charge of all the permits so that somebody doesn't have to go to multiple people and have to retell the story. And the more you tell the stories, like the telephone game, you forget pieces along the way, and not everybody may get the whole picture.
Yeah,
So-
and the whole thing is that when they get the information to them, there used to be, this is kind of years back, where they go to the county and not come to the town, or come to the town and the county knows nothing about it. No, they go to the county, and the county, first thing they tell them is, make sure you get on the agenda for your town, okay? And then there's no problem with the timing between the county and the town. And that's been working actually quite well recently, so. Okay, good segue into our media IT report. Ms. Olson.
On that subject, we did change the application at the last planning commission meeting. So it has a little bit more direction, places to go, things to look at, and talking about impervious surfaces and things like that, where they weren't looking at that before. We did change that, so that will be used at the next request. So far, we don't have any for this month, but I
It
think that was
looks
a good thing.
user friendly. Thank you.
It seems just a little bit easier to shore things up. On the website overview, we currently have 3 new subscribers, bringing us to 361. The YouTube feed is currently up 7 subscribers from 33 to 40. We gained 97 new followers last month on Facebook, bringing us to 1,097 followers. The spring newsletter, I'm hoping to have a print date of May 14th after that next meeting when the final draft can be approved. I did pass around the draft.
So when is this one going out?
I'm hoping to print on 5/14, so I'd probably give it a couple days by the time we stamp it and fold them all.
So, and our next meeting is the 13th.
So I could print the day after and then
Okay.
get it out.
Very good. So this is the
What if
latest
we-
version. You need information from our 2 new supervisors.
I did speak to them in the hallway.
Okay.
And they seem willing.
But as Barb and I were looking at it too, yeah, we like the update on the Highway 20 construction, but maybe if we can move things around to give it a little
To
more space.
expand.
I
So
can
like a
try.
half a
I have
page.
fiddled
We
so
can-
much with the
Barb
formatting,
has
so
some
we'll see
ideas.
what we can do.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff with the highway stuff, you can give a link, be better, because then you have everything. you need.
But when it's in
But mostly
paper-
for the demographic,
Oh,
it's
they can-
people
yeah,
who
yeah,
don't
you're right.
look at the
Yeah.
website. All of that is on Facebook already, and if I do get another update that has the graphics
Okay.
like that, I'm going to update it before we put it out, because you never know when they're gonna give something that detailed, but it was a really good drawing, so I wanted to make sure we included it.
Okay.
Are there any questions or edits that you want me to make to the current?
Seems
Draft.
like, I'll take one home with me.
Okay.
How many do you pass out?
Just the one.
Just
I
the
was
one.
just
Just
gonna
look at it.
have- Yep.
You look at it?
Yep.
You looked at it?
Okay.
Okay, I'll look at it, I'll let you know.
Did you want me to present for the planning commission when the time comes?
Do what?
Do you want me to
Present.
present for the planning commission
Since
since
you?
Bill's not here?
Yes,
Okay, I'll wait for that.
okay,
I'd like
Thank
that.
thank you. I was wondering how we were gonna do that.
It's pretty late in the agenda.
All right, Department of Public Works, Superintendent Shield.
Just a few things. Everybody got a copy of my little report? Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Winter was pretty boring.
Never boring.
That's all right.
Is that bucket truck one of the things that we share?
Yep.
Okay, so we only have to pay a third of it?
Yeah, that's becoming an issue that's gonna get talked about probably here coming up. That
Okay.
the amount we've been paying for it to the amount that we use it, we can rent one cheaper than the maintenance we're paying on it.
Oh.
I was gonna
Maintenance
ask,
got
what was
pretty
the repair that you needed?
There was a hydraulic pump, there was a
Oh,
major pin for one of the articulating arms that you go up in, so,
thank
Getting
you.
old.
yeah.
All right,
Next month I will have, hopefully, we don't have any more snow this month, or snow report for the year.
Knock on wood,
Yes.
please.
Yep.
Thank you.
I talked with, for the generators now, talked with Adams Electric and with VP Plus on warranties and whatnot, because we were trying to figure everything out. VP Plus would give us a 5-year parts and labor. I asked them, I said, okay, we have something go wrong in the middle of the night. There's strictly a $90 trip charge. There's no minimum, just $90 to show up, whatever parts will be. Adam Electric is a 5-year limited warranty, and an emergency trip for them is a minimum of $250.
Yikes.
So that should help with. They were, I think it was like $1,100 difference between the two, and then with the working relationship that we had with VP using them for 3 generators that we already have. So I'm hoping we can still go with VP for.
Okay.
What
the
was,
Can you remind
what
us?
what was the show up cost or their trip fee?
Adams.
Adams
Yeah,
was
$250.
$250 to show up
versus 92.
versus a straight $90
$90.
an hour.
And parts.
Yeah, plus parts. They really wouldn't give me, Adams wouldn't give me much more, just saying it's a limited warranty. Could mean almost anything, where VP is parts and labor.
Okay.
Where Adams could be warranty on parts and you still gotta pay for labor.
All right, this is equipment, and we didn't have to bid this. Matter of fact, I thought we were just putting it in the paper just so we could get the notice out, so Todd didn't have to go searching for these people. As it turns out, there's really only 2 that are really capable of doing this. So I would recommend that we reject the 2 bids and then go with the negotiated price that Todd has with VP Plus for all the reasons stated, the warranties, the trip charges, and the familiarity with all of our other equipment here. And I believe that would be correct to do.
It's permissible to do. Generally, you don't need to get bids for equipment. It is still recommended that you follow the competitive process. When you don't have to do an official bid, you can accept or reject the proposals that do come in. Because this was set out as bid, I think you can, if the recommendation will be to go with VP, you would have to emphasize that they were chosen because the emergency trip fee was less and the scope of the warranty was greater, which makes it a better option for the town.
Total package.
Yep.
And the fact that they already service the 3, right?
Existing.
Existing, what we've had,
Yeah.
we've been good working relationship and
Yep.
So in effect, what we got, we had two proposals and it was actually done as a bid. So that gave Todd a great starting spot for his numbers.
I know that VP is in Lake Geneva. Where is Adams?
Elk Point.
Elkhorn. So they're
Yeah, they're both
local.
close, yeah.
Okay.
What is the number that you finally set on with VP Plus? 'Cause we
Here you
have
go.
to do that for-
It's 11,697.
No, that was just one of them. There's three of them.
VP was for total for all three generators was $33,778.
Even?
Yep. And Adams was $32,506.05. The difference was $1,272.05.
Did VP send any sort of warranty information to you?
I probably have an email on it, yeah.
What the
Okay.
That's the 5 years.
5-year parts and labor?
Yeah.
5 years. Parts and labor and Adams is 5 years limited.
I just asked because he said Adams wasn't very forthcoming with information on the limited warranty.
No, that's all they gave me was limited warranty.
Okay.
Okay. All right. To be official, to make sure that we're starting this, not over, but I make a motion that we reject the two original bids for these three generators to start this process. We have a second.
From VP and Adams, you're talking?
The original bid proposals that were submitted, that's what we bid it.
And get new ones?
And no, we have a negotiated price now with Todd.
I'll
Right.
second.
Todd went back to negotiate, so
I'll
the prices are different than what the original bid prices were.
Or lower. All right, so Barb, second discussion.
I think that the merits of having existing generators here, a cheaper trip charge and a better defined warranty really outweighs the unknown factors with Adams.
Yeah, $1,100.
And just because I'm not scared to ask, because if I don't understand, so you're saying to reject these and then we're looking to go with VP is what the.
Yeah,
and then-
we never, yeah, we never.
That's fine, I just want to make sure
Yeah, that's
that I'm
correct.
going in the same.
Yeah, because we can't just let the original bid package hang out there. They're rejected.
Gotcha.
And then all the work that Todd did in the meantime, because the scope did change somewhat too, so,
Okay.
and all these reasons. So, okay, on the motion, to reject those two original bids, all in favor, say aye.
Church eye.
Opposed? None, motion carries. Okay, so now we need a motion for that 33,778 for VP Plus to allow Todd to,
Can you tell me where VP started then? If we got them down to 33,778?
They started at, I think it was over 35,000.
yeah, I think we have that original one.
6 plus. Actually, 10 and 4 plus 13, so 24, 5. 30. Okay, so they were over 30.
I had that in one
Yeah.
of these folders.
Thank you.
And with doing the, when the police garage was getting built, with the working relationship we had with VP, their transfer switch is already installed because it was cheaper to have when the electricians were doing all the wiring for the new garage. We had the transfer switch there already instead of adding it on. So
Yeah, it was over 35,000.
I'll make a,
I'll make a motion, we go with VP Plus for a total of $33,778 for the three generators for the town hall campus.
second,
Barb, second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye, opposed? None,
Thanks
motion
for
carries.
doing the extra legwork.
All right, get her done. Any other questions for Todd on his?
we have a grant that the state came out with this year. I didn't know it was gonna come out until at budget time. I was budgeting for starting to get Honey Creek Road redone. And now the state came out with a grant for agricultural road improvement. It's pretty lengthy. We had Lynch and Associates
do all the legwork for it. I did some legwork because there was a form and that farmers had to fill out for any farmer that used it. We ended up with 12 different farms that use Hunting Creek Road. I stopped at all the farmers and emailed, Gene helped email all the different farmers. We got eight out of the 12 back with all their information that they needed. Because it's an expensive road to have redone to bring it up to the standards where it would not be classified a Class B highway anymore. To get that completely rebuilt, Lynch came up with a $3.7 million road repair. Versus when we were gonna do it in 3 different sections, we would have been like 1.2 million. It's like $400,000 per mile on a third, because it's kind of, that's how it's split. I was gonna split it up. So hopefully we got a pretty good chance with that, with all the letters that got written back and the legwork that the farmers did.
Basically starts at the village limit, half a mile east of 120, all the way to the town line.
Yeah.
So it's a big job. And you gotta remember if you take state money, it's 90% funded. You then have to do the design, the planning, the design, and the construction with state oversight.
Yep.
And that adds 15% at each occurrence there.
So that's 90% of the 3.7 million?
That the state would pay.
If you get that grant.
Yes.
Yeah, as long as you get the grant.
Yeah.
And I think the odds of that are pretty good with the amount of
I hope.
farms. I mean,
There's 2 shots at it. The first one, they're giving out 50 million, and then later this fall, another 150 or 100.
Yeah, there's 175 million total that they're gonna,
statewide.
yeah, statewide.
For that, they're having. for that
Yeah,
grant.
I know we're asking for, I mean, it's a pretty good chunk for one little road, but it's also totally polarizing it, grading it, making it wider,
Mhm.
and replacing some culverts that need to get replaced.
And then we can't post it. No
Yeah.
longer could post it
Right.
for
Yeah.
You
seasonal.
wouldn't have a weight limit on it.
Correct.
No.
Because we have industrial on
I
that
get
road as
that.
well.
Well, the industrial has nothing to do with, that's the only thing. Like, granted, they use it as a cut through to Highway 20, but this is strictly for agricultural.
And
And in the springtime, when the farmers are hauling grain out after they harvested it, is that's usually when we put our weight limits on, so it restricts them as a time frame when they can haul it out.
how many employees? I thought there were like.
Yeah, there was, because there was a whole form, yeah.
Employees.
A lot of employees, a lot of acreage, a lot of
And I
money.
believe the Henning Fields are on there and they have award-winning cheese produced. I think that that's a huge caveat to.
Yeah, we got Schultz Farms, Super B Grain Farms, Atkinson Enterprises, Payne Farm, Kegley Farms. There will be some input that the village might have to our grant because we touch it.
Yep.
Okay. And they may be doing something on a different grant for that section, the first half mile section. And I didn't think that road was that bad, but they said it needs some work. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a question. Back to what I was asking about the grant. So just so I have an understanding, this is something we're gonna do as Plan A. Let's go for this grant. Let's see what we can do, make it happen, make it fun. But if not, then I'm assuming we're going back to Plan B of doing a mile and a third or doing as we can.
Doing it in a
as
3-year
town
step.
in a 3-year.
Yeah.
Or hybrid of that possibly would be do one piece of it and then resubmit it as a smaller project. In fall.
Sure, we're just not gonna, we're just gonna go back to our plan, the original
Yes.
plan if this
Yeah,
doesn't fall through.
because
That's my
that application had to be in by last Friday, April 5th.
I appreciate, thanks for
And-
doing that.
and it all got in. It's, appreciate all the work that Lynch and Associates did on it.
They did.
How much
a
do we
lot.
see them?
6,000.
6,000, yeah.
Yeah, there's a proposal that you all approved.
Yeah.
There was a lot of work that Lynch did,
lot.
maps and pictures. The pictures they
Yep.
took were very telling.
Yep.
Yeah, they picked the right ones.
Yeah, so hopefully we get a good chance on that, because that'll save us a ton of money, because like I said, it's over $400,000 for a third of a mile. And that's just taken, I think I had it last year when I was just getting budget numbers. Yeah. So that'll save us there.
Yes. Hopefully we get that. It'd be
Yep.
nice. All right, anything else on your report? You're good.
Thank you to Todd for all the work that you're helping us do on grants.
I'm trying.
That's money that defers our budget.
Yes.
So,
I'll
thank
take it
you.
from the state and send it to us, having to spend it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, police report, Chief Direcky.
Good evening. Did everybody get the information in their packet for the first 3 months of the year?
Yes.
Yes.
So just a quick rundown, 3,026 total calls of service. That comes out to 33.25 calls per day or 1.38 calls per hour. That includes house checks, business checks, traffic stops, the whole kit and caboodle. That's all our numbers that we do day in and day out. The numbers are a little bit down, I think, from the end of last year, but we're still up over expectations. In my 30 years, we're doing something every hour. So again, just shows you guys that the officers aren't sitting around playing Xbox or watching their favorite cartoon.
If I could say something
Sure.
just on this report, I appreciate you saying that. I've had that discussion. I know I mentioned it last month that it's hard for sometimes when people, if they're watching the video and you hear you have 1.38 calls per hour, that it's not all crime related.
Correct.
You know, the house checks alone on here for the
Correct.
year are 916, calls. So I mean, that's about a third, almost a third of those calls. But I appreciate you always mentioning that because some people are like, what's going on in the community?
Right.
It's not,
No,
it's not like
very-
that. It's accountability. It's all that kind of
Very
stuff.
safe community.
Yep.
We're doing more checks and driving through parks and neighborhoods than we are chasing criminals. So that's a
I
good thing.
appreciate you always bringing that up.
And can I ask, how much overlap do we have, like where maybe there is more than one officer, as far as transitions or, so they can finish up some paperwork before or things like that?
Every shift overlaps by an hour, except for my shift. I work a straight 8 hour. The officers work a 9 hour day. So there's an hour overlap.
But are there like
Weekend
shifts where we?
It depends
schedule
on the
them, or-
rotation because of the rotation. There are days where there's 2 people on second shift. Joe and Mike are both working. So there is overlap. There are shifts where our 2 third shifters, Patrick and Jeremy, are in. Usually Patrick's done at like 3 in the morning then. And then Jeremy finishes up. So we do have overlaps with our
They're
shifts.
Not always
So
by themselves, yeah.
not always by themselves. Usually I end up being the only one that's by myself for the most part, generally speaking, if there's a shift that's solo.
Thank you.
Total citation count through the end of March was 366 citations, just to give you a little perspective, because my own morbid curiosity, that's 160 citations more than 2023 at this time of the year. So we're up 160 citations, and I can address that disparity also. I started in September of 2022, doing a little bit of putting the team together. March of 2023, we were just kind of getting our feet underneath us and coalescing as a team. And I think over the last year, they certainly have come together and done more than I ever expected. So kudos to the men and women that we have working for us. They're really getting after it and doing what they need to do. The last thing was the peer permit. I know there was some back and forth. This is a new peer permit. I couldn't find anywhere on any current or old satellite imagery of a pier at this property. There was a little bit of hiccup on it, and the pier needed to be centered up from the original plan to give proper distance on each side. I was able to redraw that. I believe Gene sent it out to the owner and they made the necessary adjustments to bring it in with compliance of our ordinance. So I have no problem with the current pier permit that's on the board.
Yeah, I looked also on several different platforms, aerials. There never was a pier in that location.
No.
So this is a little unusual. So what it kicks back to is being a new pier. It's not grandfathered. It didn't exist before 2012. It has to follow our ordinance and the pier planner. And the first iteration that was submitted, he had kind of, and it's only a 50-foot lake lot on Miramar and Potter, so it's not a real wide lot. He had it pushed over to one side, which meant that his shore station would have been on or even encroaching on his neighbor's riparian zone. So by centering it on his 50-foot, it's now in full compliance. So this is one of the easier ones we had to deal with for a long time because it's brand new. There's no extenuating circumstances of any sort. So with that, I'd make a motion, we approve the pier permit for Michael. Is Michael here? You have anything to say before I?
No, there is an old pier that's on shore. There's
Laying there?
six sections of it, but it's a little one. It was 3 feet wide.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, none of the aerials showed ever being in the water.
Yeah, I had to go down and measure because the steps go kitty corner.
Okay.
So they start out up on the upper part of the property about maybe 12 feet off the lot line, but they go down to the middle of the actually shoreline. So by the time it gets down there, it's over 20 on each side.
Yes, Gene.
Just to be sure so that he doesn't have any issues in the future. I know that when I sent the documents back out to him, it needed to be 12 feet off of the lot line. His current drawing is 10 feet on the left-hand side.
The riparian demarcation in there, without doing every
Okay.
lot in there.
I just wanted to make sure so he doesn't have problems in the
Yeah,
future.
and your neighbors did it two different ways. Being that you're in the middle, you're in the absolute only place you can be, so that's good. Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure so he
Yep,
doesn't have
yes.
problems with going forward.
Yes.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve the pier permit for the Michael Maratek pier at West 921 Miramar Drive.
I'll second.
Second by Chad. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carries.
And the last thing I have for you is I was notified the squad car is being built in Nashville. Kind of expected that I'd had a second phone call saying it's done, but that hasn't happened yet, so.
Okay, what was the original date they gave you way back?
They just said this year, but the car had a little bit of a journey because it originally started in Montana and they were going to build it in Montana, but that is a very small build or office to build. So Dana Safety Supply actually put it on a semi and had it shipped to Nashville, which is a much larger hub. So as soon as they received it, we were notified that they had it and they were going to start the build, and then they'll notify us when it's done. So,
All right, any questions for Chief? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is that
Have a good
fully
night.
in this year's budget, right, Kim?
All right, ETAESD report, Supervisor Church, anything to add to your?
No, I do have two things that I want to call attention to. The $2,800 purchase for a electric car blanket. This is really important because electric cars, if they catch on fire, they burn much hotter and much longer than normal car fires. In fact, they use 13 to 15,000 gallons to put out one car fire, which really would put the township in a bind for filling up more water if necessary, if there were more than one call. This blanket is also critical because Alpine Valley has a full concert schedule. we will be expecting cars from out of state and out of town to come to the concerts. If we have an electric car fire in a closed parking area, it would be very easy for other cars nearby to catch on fire. So this purchase was part of our, it was built into our budget, and we felt the need to pull the trigger on this right away because we don't want a lot of cars burning in a parking lot situation. And that's what this blanket is meant to prevent. The other thing that I need to point out is the next ETA ESD meeting was scheduled for April 17th. That's the day after the annual meeting. Our normal meeting would have been on the 16th, which is the annual meeting. That April 17th meeting starts at 5 o'clock because some of our new trustees, we have a full complement of trustees. We've added Chief Schmittendorf, formerly from Illinois, who is now serving as a additional trustee from the town of East Troy. But we also have 2 new trustees from the town of Spring Prairie. That would be Mike Dominis and Jason Line. And some of them have a meeting at 7 o'clock to also attend. So we moved the time up for our April 17th meeting to 5 o'clock instead of 5:30.
I'll note that when I read the meeting schedule.
Thank you.
I noticed you mentioned a change in your cell service provider.
Yes.
To $40. Oh, it was $40 a month savings?
Correct.
Okay.
After the $500 transfer, although that $500 transfer is not fully $500 because there is a trade-in on some of the equipment that we currently have, but that cost wasn't explicitly defined until we do it. So I put in the greater of the numbers. FirstNet had come to the ETA ESD probably about 3 or 4 years ago. They did not have the tower service that would allow for greater connection, greater connectivity, greater connectivity with calls. There were still calls that would have been dropped out because they didn't have the tower service. FirstNet has installed all the towers that they need, improving the connectivity as well as putting on DPW and all of the municipal police departments as well as Walworth County. So all of the EMS, police, DPW are on the same radio program. And if there is a major event, the FirstNet provides priority service to any EMS, DPW, or police, so that all of us people with our cell phones will have to wait to get our calls connected in a major emergency. And with Alpine Valley being a major event, the cell service for the fire, EMS, and DPW is critical.
So
That's
I
why
just
we
had a-
made the change.
I just had a little quick question. So are we paying for all of our departments, like cell phones, basically, or are we putting towards? If I have on the fire department, if I have a
It's in
cell
our-
phone, is that along, do they
There-
pay their cell phone bills also? Is that
No, what
just
we're doing, it is
portion of it?
just for the department use only.
the department cell? Because everybody has a radio. We just bought everybody a radio. So I was just thinking, I
But
know
the
they
radios
utilize it.
stay within the service area too, so.
Oh, so no radios leave. So there's enough for only people on duty at that time.
That is my understanding.
Oh, because my understanding was everybody got a radio. That's what when we were
There were
talking
like
about that.
35 radios.
35 radios or
bought.
something. So
There are
that's why I
35
was just
people
wondering,
on.
so do we pay for cell phones, which that's your your choice, but, or are we paying a part of a cell phone bill? Like if I have my own cell phone, like I get $40 allowance, or, you know what I'm saying? It saves, or do you pay for everybody's cell phone and on top of it, everybody has a brand new radio that we're doing? I'm just questioning.
That I can't answer.
Okay.
I will check with the chief on that, but I can't answer.
But if they
that
keep their
personally.
radios at all time, which is what I assumed was
Duty.
was what we were doing, you know, if everybody has their own individual, that would kind of even take place of the cell phone for a pager. So, you know what I'm saying, so to speak? So just a question.
I will look into it.
Awesome, thanks.
All right, anything else on your report, Blair?
No,
All
thank
right.
you though.
Jean has a question.
Gene?
Not a question, but I just want to note that if anybody is curious, with Verizon, we also have priority service as emergency service personnel. The police officers have that with their phones.
Okay.
Oh, officers.
Only in their squad cells though,
Yes,
not their personal.
Not the personal.
Great.
Squad
Okay.
cells only.
but it is priority service.
Okay. All right, park committee report, Supervisor Reyes.
So we're coming down to the end on making a decision on our playground equipment. It looks like there was one option that was missing in the packet. The Gerber option number 2, so I made copies for the board members in black and white tonight. And then in the packet of the pictures that were provided for the first ones from Lee Recreation, that first one that has just the one roof in the middle is actually option 2 in the table, which is the 69,000, and then the option 1. And just because they were the lowest bid, and they're local, close by, they offered to make kind of the big posters, which I thought would be helpful next week as well at the annual meeting. So this is actually option 2, the very lowest cost of everything in the packet. What is it, 60 something, right? 69,000.
69.
As you can see, it has the one roof area in the middle. And the only thing I did, Todd, they had included 2 benches in their proposal. I think we already have benches out there, right?
Yeah, there's 3 out there right
Yeah, so I don't know that they need to be replaced, right?
now. One, but
Maybe.
somebody brought more than one.
Okay. Yeah, so I did like in their proposals that they did have the covered areas. This one obviously only has the one covered area because of, in the summer and sun time. It has the one peak of the covered area. Again, just looking practically for the lowest cost. We have 100,000 budgeted, but my background, I never like to spend our whole budget. Sorry, I always want to beat the budget and come in lower. It's important to me as a sourcing professional. And this is the only other proposal that had covered areas as well, which I kind of liked. And this was at the 84,275. Obviously year round, we don't need sun protection, but most commonly that's when kids are out there, it is when it's warmer weather. And then I did the summary that showed, you can see there's a lot of different climbers in most of them, a lot of different type of climbing activities. But for the money, I felt like this was a complete package that included, what did I put in there, like 4 slides. You can see the curve slide and the 4 different slides.
4 slides, 9 climbers and stairs, overhead shaded areas, 4 swings, Comet 2 spinner, and an arch bridge.
Right, so here's the Comet 2 spinner. They did include the 4 swings, the 2 like toddler swings and 2 seat belt, I think they call them swings. Most of the proposals included the swings. I don't think I included it in there. I have it in my notes though. This was the lowest for the swings from 3,500. I think they was for the 4 swings and the structures around it. I think the next closest was like 5,000 just for the swing. So I tried to break it down and look at what we're actually paying for. And you can see that in the table as well. This Lee Recreation is the closest, they're in Cambridge, right, Todd? So they have the lowest shipping.
Yeah, and they did both Prairie View and Little Prairie.
Okay. And the second one, the Gerber, I think did Playmore in 1999. But, so I tried to look at what we're paying for, right? The lowest freight, the lowest installation costs, and the lowest lead time, so we could get the benefit out of it this year. This was only at 10 to 12 weeks, so that kind of puts us, I'll have to reach out to the train, because it puts us right around July 4th if we do it, so we can get some summer use. We got to figure out removing the existing equipment. I think they're having a picnic in the park like July 10th or 7th or something like that. So we'll have to figure out exactly how that works. But Todd's team said they're going to help with the removal. I did not include all the details of the proposals because it lists every single post and connector by line item. I didn't think anyone wanted to go through all that detail, but I can get that for you. I would like to make a decision tonight, like it's just economically, that's why they were close by. That's why I had the posters printed for these. For the next highest or the next lowest bid after the 84,000, I think is 93.
Yeah, almost 94, yeah.
Yeah. So another $10,000 for the next proposal. So open to ideas.
Okay, well, first of all, this sounds like it's right up your alley, because a lot of what you just analyzed here is what you a lot of your job, correct?
Right.
So, your recommendation, which sounds like Lee Recreation Option 1, your recommendation is really the strongest thing we're gonna have here. I mean, we all looked at the pictures. It makes sense, everything you said. I don't know if Todd, you dipped your toe in the water at all on this at all, or no?
Oh, and I talked to Jeff was out today, and he dropped the boards off, I had probably half an hour conversation with him. Told him we had other bids, I said, this is gonna be up to the board, and it's gonna be brought up tonight.
Yep.
Hopefully, board decision with possible action on the annual meeting. And he said, if it gets accepted tonight, tomorrow, and next week, he asked when we wanted to get started demolition. They said, as soon as you tell me, we'll start the week before, so it's not down for a long period of time.
Right.
And he said, with the lead time, possibly start, it'd be close to the end of that 4th of July.
All right, well, we can't exactly do it that way because the annual meeting is not a board meeting, so we can't.
No, I was hoping we'd make a decision tonight
Yes, but
and
you
then
kind of
present
said
it. Yeah.
as leader. So,
Yeah.
yes.
I did let everyone that proposed know that I had it on the agenda for tonight for action, and then just kind of like presenting the results at the end.
Okay, oh, I agree, okay, that makes sense, that makes sense. All right, so is that your recommendation?
That is my recommendation. I guess the only other thing would be is if we wanted to put one of the benches back in. So that would be like $2,500 if we think we need a bench. We said we were gonna keep some of the smaller equipment that we recently purchased as well and put that back in. So, and I think the size wise works for you as well, right?
Well,
Yeah, we have to do a little bit of expanding to fit the swings in. But it's not a whole lot of legwork. It's more taking everything down, digging all the old wood chips out. And the size that he has on here, he gave it a little bit bigger for backfill and everything.
All right, if you put one of those benches back in, you said 2,500?
Right, because it was the two benches were 55. Oh, no, the two benches and
wood fiber.
Yeah, so it would be less than that for one bench.
Do you have a number on that, like 1,000 or something? Because if we do that, we should actually do it right as part of this
Okay.
motion, the dollar value.
Benches
Yep.
are not cheap.
No, well, they're not
Yeah.
made like a
Picnic
normal.
tables, anything if that's composite. Oh,
Yes, it is. So it's
And it lasts.
You
80,
might have I gotta get a price on the certified wood chips from Woody Supply, because that's gonna have to be figured in it too.
Right, we removed that from all of them. None of them included the wood chips.
so are you gonna do that or not?
Right.
We'll remove the wood chips, depending on the price we get from Woody Supply, when I was talking with Jeff today, they got a supplier that they use, and they buy it by semi-loads, so we might be able to even get a better deal through Lee on the cost of wood chips getting, because he says with that size, it'd probably be a semi-load and a half.
Okay.
So we're still dealing with the 84, 225 plus whatever one bench is.
Yep.
And wood chips.
Well, the wood chips, would that be part of this?
All of them.
Would that be separate? Part of this contract?
No, it's not okay.
It's not, okay, not. All right, so it'd just be the bench then.
That would be, you know,
Still well
still come out of
below
our
our-
100.
Still well below our budget.
Yeah.
Within budget.
Well, we could do a not to exceed here of 85,000, 86,000 or something. We could do that.
The benches are 758 each,
758.
6-foot bench.
So that's 3, that's 7, that's 8, that's 9. So that's roughly 85,000.
And he had the wood fiber in here for 4,050
Okay, but again, is that gonna
if we
be,
have it delivered, yeah.
are we gonna do that part of this proposal or not?
Like I said, I don't know the cost of what Woody Supply charges.
Oh, you're saying that you may, well, why, okay. We could leave it in there, we can always go below, because they're not to exceed, if you go that way, then you'd be adding, how much, you just said a number for the wood chips,
4,050, yeah.
4,000.
But none of them included wood chip, so I guess we could do that separate, right? So make
Good.
sure we're comparing apples to apples.
Okay, so we're back to the 84,983. All right,
And you made.
No, you're at 85 because you're adding a bench.
The 84, oh, I think he did 84, 225 plus the 758.
758.
So
That's
where
3,
Joe,
13,
you came
1,
up with
that's 7,
84,
8.
9?
That's 84,983.
Okay.
All right, we need a motion.
I think Barb has some questions.
I have a
Question? Shoot.
In the swing set, there are 2 toddler, and I have seen a bucket seat, which is really handy for kids who have adaptive needs. And I was just wondering if there was any way they could swap out one of the toddler seats for that bucket seat so that we have some adaptability for our playground. The only reason why I say that, I go through the park on a daily basis. We have a lot of 2 to 5-year-olds here. And I think that bucket seat might be handy for, you know, the not 2-year-olds, but not old enough to sit on the strap seat. They're not gonna be comfortable in the toddler
belt.
bucket seat.
Oh, okay.
The picture
So-
showed 2 of each was proposed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what
Yeah.
I'm talking about, there's a bucket.
Oh, different than the one that's
But
shown on this picture?
There's a, yeah,
It's like a plastic chair, basically.
it is.
Okay.
And
With
it-
straps.
it- It's got a seatbelt type thing, but it's a, I wanna say it's like a Papazon chair type thing. It would,
Looks like a chair from the 60s, plastic.
Yeah.
hard.
And then it would give
Yeah.
comfort to those 2 to 5-year-olds, the not ready for regular swings, but too big for baby swings.
the other thing that
And
it helps with
Children with
is
disabilities
somebody
as well.
who's a senior citizen who wants to ride on the swing where
So
they're
this
not.
is for you? I know what's going on here. Come on now.
I'm just
I don't
The
think
daily
they-
swing in
if
the
they're
park.
one kid, they're not gonna fit in
Yeah,
adults.
she's just walking by.
Of the
Sorry, Barbara, I'm just joking.
I walked into that, but all I'm saying is that I see a lot of 2 to 5-year-olds that are here a lot. In the midday, especially in the summer, there are a lot of families that come and do lunch here in the gazebo and the kids play. Because I'm walking through the park, so.
Okay.
Just a comment.
Well, we did add that, the one bench, and we did not do anything with the wood fiber. If we want to give a number and approval here, if it's 85, that's another 5. It really should be a not to exceed 90,000. Right? Not to exceed.
Inclusive of the, yeah, so.
And I don't know if they even carry it. I just thought I'd.
Yeah.
Yeah, we figured
Yeah,
that
I
out.
think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right, motion.
So I would make a motion that we approve the Lee Recreation Option 1, Playground Proposal 142-181-9. Sorry, I have proposal 2 in front of me. 91.
Is that?
No, Kim had it written.
Oh,
I have
here
it
you go.
written. Yeah.
142, 17, 12, 19.
Yeah,
18-1.
142, yeah. There you go. 17, 12, 19, 18-1,
Yep.
yep. In the amount, or not to exceed $90,000, including wood chips and a modified swing seat.
Okay,
Second.
Barb Church, second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Okay, so
Thank
that's the one you're gonna present at the annual meeting. This is what we're doing.
Right,
Thank you.
right, so we'll have that ready to go. The poster. I'll leave it here for you.
All right. That's all you had on the park committee report, correct?
Yes, like I said, I found out that the train is having a picnic in the park in July, so we'll have to figure out timing around that. And the trick or treat, I noticed on their website, the trick or treat, they increased to not only the 4 Fridays in October, but Friday and Sunday. So we will definitely need volunteers. It was a struggle to get volunteers for 4 Fridays.
All right. Moose Lake Memorial Park report. Mr. Wales.
Yeah, it's, they're already starting to get things ready. Piers are in, boat slips. I think they're looking at maybe renting a couple more once the pier was in near the launch. They were worried about size, but they think they can get maybe another 1 or 2, but that'll be at their next meeting. I should have made sure this was on the agenda. This is stuff we've been talking about last month and a month before about some resolutions that are just looking for approval from the town board. They've already been approved by the town of Troy and the village of East Troy, but because it wasn't notified on here, unfortunately, we can't act on that. So I guess it'll be up to you guys next month. Hopefully we can get that through. It's dealing with the money that we made a resolution just to make sure we have our documentation straight. It's making a resolution about the monies borrowed that we used to fix the house, caretaker's house and the concession stand. And there was a bunch of projects that were in dire need. So it's just trying to get our ducks in a row. And the second resolution is actually about borrowing as a third for a capital expense for a generator for the park in case of the power outages. I guess we've had a few where all of a sudden there are a couple, 2-3 days. Well, you have a lot of frozen stuff as far as inventory that's there. There's a lot of other options, and even with the not being open in the winter, something that if the furnace were to go out in the wintertime and the caretakers aren't there, Sean and Bonnie, that something will kick on. So I think the other municipalities have approved it, so this will be something on next month's agenda for approval from the board. So
Okay, thank you very much. Lake Beulah Management District report, Mr. Thomas.
The management district hasn't met since the last board meeting, but we're scheduled to meet tomorrow evening at 5:30 here at the town hall. Due to the recent rains, several boards were pulled at the dam. Water level was approximately 5 inches above normal. So just as a precautionary we pulled 2 boards on a short-term basis and allowed the water to go down. There's a gauge at one side of the dam that monitors the water level. And that's it.
Is that something that you guys had watched? You guys keep an eye on that?
Uh,
I'm just over on the
yeah.
channel, and water depth is always a big deal, so I just always.
Stu Alder is.
Oh, Stu
responsible
takes
for
it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, recycling committee report. John, anything?
Yes, a couple of little things. The electronic recycling event is still scheduled for 4th of May, 2024. And the 2023 annual report, recycling program accomplishments and actual costs is scheduled to be completed, submitted this month. That's it for.
Okay. And anything on the library?
Library is really routine business. There's really nothing to report there, except that the next library board meeting is tomorrow, 9th of April, 4:15 p.m.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much to you, and let Christina know also. All right, planning commission report. Jen, you said you're gonna lead us through this. 3 items on the posting.
Okay, let me get my stuff in order here. I lost them for a second. John and Julie Grayhack are the first ones on there. They came before us. There was some question about, as you heard, the viewing corridor, as well as the 1.5 feet from the lot line variance that they're asking for, and then the height of the boathouse. They were approved for the height after a motion to approve failed by Commissioner Wooker. So then they were approved for the height, but they were denied for the viewing access corridor, and they were denied for the setback variance. So it looks like they're kind of stalled at this point.
Okay. All right. So the whole situation with variances, there is a checklist. And when you read the checklist, you got 7 people sitting on the board looking at the checklist and saying, does that meet it? That doesn't meet it. So that's why you end up with votes that are not, the same normally. This is not a cut and dried situation, and what we've seen by the pictures, this it screams as per variance. However, it's not the town's responsibility to approve it or deny it. However, the recommendation should, it has to come to us after the plan commission, acted. So it's called a partial approval, rightfully so, because the recommendation on the resolution, is just that. To approve the height variance, but not the access corridor or the side yard setback. And we heard from the neighbors that they know they're right close there, but they're okay with it. That's an argument that would really have to take place at the county. And I've sat through a couple of them at the county, and they go through the checklist, and they can't be swayed if there's overriding evidence to say there's nothing else we can do. Okay, that's the option of saying there is no other option. Okay. However, I have a hard time. I don't know how Bill would have argued it here, but he has a resolution here that is the action of the full plan commission. I believe everybody was there. Is that correct?
Correct.
No. Yeah. There's one missing.
Gordon, or is that a different one?
Smith,
Where's that?
DeGrave, Jan. Nope. Everybody was there. 1, 2, 3,
I think she was missing
4,
from the
5.
second.
Oh, that's 6, because you got
Yes.
7 people. So there was 6 people. So there was an opportunity there to be actually a split vote, and there wasn't. So my recommendation always is to follow the plan commission unless there's something that we were given as a board that changes the dynamics here. Did you get the same presentation to the plan commission?
I was out of town for that,
Okay.
so I was.
You
not able to
didn't?
get information on the fourth report.
You did or didn't?
I didn't, I mean, I had posters and pictures, but
Yep.
I didn't understand. I guess I didn't understand exactly how it was gonna go. I'd never been at one.
Okay.
When I picked there, I was just kind of presenting what it was. I didn't understand what they meant by hardship, I guess. That was one of the big things. And I mean, the hardship is that we have stuff down at the bottom of the hill that sits out and is aesthetically unpleasing.
Right.
Or we have to pull it up, and it's
Right.
not easy to go up there. I didn't understand the viewing corridor well enough to explain it to them. I anticipated, because the planning commission, I thought, gee, they'll know what these three things mean. And they did know what the height meant. But, and then Bill, it's Bill, right?
Yes.
Actually had a resolution, just pass all three and see what happened at the thing, but.
The county?
At the county.
Yep.
Sorry. But, that's kind of, the problem was, so I wanted to present it better so you guys could look at it too. I realized I didn't do a good job.
No, but I know that, if I may, it's always tough, because I always say, I want to give everybody everything they want, because that would be great, and I know that even at the planning commission, they have a hard time too, because this is what it is, and this is what defines a hardship, and this is what defines that, so, unfortunately, you can't do it all, and I think they kind of run on well, we didn't do it for this person, so, it starts to get difficult for everybody all the way around, just as a heads up, to you, because if they haven't done it in the past, it's hard to do it now, and then it's, they kind of stick to one.
Right. And there is no real pattern that I've ever noticed from the county. We say yes, they say no, or vice versa, whatever. We're advisory, and ultimately them and their legal counsel have to stand behind their decisions, whether it be a conditional use permit or variance, rezone. At least in the rezone, the town has some authority there where their vote means more. But on variances, no, we're advisory. So, yes.
Normally, I say whenever the board makes a motion, they have to adopt the reasonings given by the plan commission. And since we're dealing with a variance where hardship would have to be defined, unless the board has heard something tonight to find that a hardship exists when the plan commission did not, that would have to be part of your motion.
Right.
And I don't know if you've heard enough.
No, I agree. And that's why I'm saying our normal process is we accept that. Marv?
That's exactly what my question is. Can you elaborate any of you, as to hardship? When I read the document here, it said that financial hardship was not a qualifying reason. Are there other reasons that you could elaborate to the board as to hardships that exist in placing the boathouse in the location that you've described?
It was never a financial question.
I
I
didn't.
know it was brought up.
Mr. Smith brought that up. It was.
I heard that. I did listen to your planning commission, but I was wondering if I asked you if there are other reasons why you needed to put I understand that aesthetically it should go next to.
Oh, okay, so what's the hardship? So every set of property is unique. I mean, there's nobody whose
Right.
property is unique. I think if you step out there, as Bill had done, and he looked at it, he understood that there was really, you're very limited because there's this 30-degree slope, which is a lot, although it doesn't sound like a ton, it's really steep.
Right.
It's, and in that, you're sort of stuck behind this retaining wall. And with that, you are stuck kind of within that, you can't make a door to the thing. Like you couldn't get anything into it if you put it somewhere else, because there'd be no door. It has to be over here to have a door behind the retaining wall, next to the trees where they have a retaining wall. It's this little corner, and it's an ideal place. The hardship is that
Have two trees that you don't
Well,
want.
Those are the trees are there, the slope is bad, you can't move the stairwell, which we have to replace anyway, but you
Okay.
can't move it without a significant risk to erosion, and I think, Mr. McCurdy could probably speak to that. So you're kind of stuck keeping the trees where it is. The viewing corridor, which again, no one in the world kind of understands, means there's no way to put it in a viewing corridor without moving you can't fit it somewhere without moving it. So if you're gonna put it somewhere, it has to be somewhere with a wider viewing corridor. It has to go into the hill, so it has to be that height. And I think I couldn't explain the viewing corridor better. So no matter where you put it, the viewing corridor gets bigger. And in talking to Darren Schwanke, he would much prefer to have the viewing corridor just continuous on one side rather than having this here and the house over there, as would all the neighbors. And so at that point, in order to put a door on it, you have to have it you just get a little closer to a lot line. You're just playing Jenga or something, you're moving blocks.
Right.
And the hardship is that you have equipment down there, which is aesthetically unpleasing, you can just leave it sitting out, and it's a very significant challenge trying to wind up this steep hill going up, as our neighbor said. They actually have a really big house, so everything goes down there, but even when they're bringing food down to do stuff, it's really a challenge.
Can I ask, you talked about the stairwell.
Yeah.
Does the stairwell have to be replaced in the same footprint that it currently exists?
There are significant advantages to it. You can always move it over, but can I just?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this is, I'm sorry, this is a thing that I did. The boathouse over, you can see the size of the boathouse next to it, right?
Right.
Okay. The boathouse is our thing here. This is the stairwell, which defines then your viewing corridor, and all of a sudden, there's no place, like you can't put it anywhere without moving this. The stairwell goes down this way and around here. You have to kind of take it out, and if you take it out in the same footprint, you don't rip up the hill, so the hill will stay. And if you move it,
You have
and I
erosion.
see Bill's about to stand up and explain it better, you have a much greater rate of erosion, or you have to change this, I'm gonna say the slope, he's gonna say this better. But if you change the slope, that's another variance. So everything else that you try to do, you end up with another variance.
Got it.
And
Thank
I did it, the point being, I understand following the planning committee, and yes, they voted this way, although I'm just gonna say this because Bill's not here, the one person who kind of had gone out, looked at it, and understood the three components, said he actually was the one who made a motion to pass all three components. And then they said, well, and the other person brought up financial, which we have never said.
I didn't
I
hear
didn't
you say that
understand
at
ever.
the
It's
planning
never been a thing.
commission.
We're talking about trying to not have an old person drag a bunch of stuff up a hill.
Yeah.
And not have it just sitting out in front of all our neighbors.
Save the trees.
And save, yes, and that
Yeah.
person wants to save the trees.
I listened to the planning commission,
Okay.
so I, being on the TV side of it, I understood part of it, but not all of it, so I was hoping for greater information.
To be fair, Commissioners Sealy, Wooker, and Dennard went out to the property and stated such at the meeting.
Okay.
All right.
So I just wanted to bring up some existing photos. These are the stairs that we're talking about.
Right.
And what we're trying to do is simply get this as close to these stairs as possible so that we can minimize the impact on the viewing corridor. And without having to redo the stairs. If we move the boathouse over to where the stairs are, that is gonna create a void. This sinks down in between some retaining walls.
The waterfall effect.
Yeah, and also it's gonna have a depression right behind the far wall of the boathouse, which is gonna be a real problem.
It's
structurally.
going to erode the land
Absolutely.
side.
And Walworth County doesn't like us filling in, so it's already low, and there's no way to prevent the drainage from puddling and then overflowing. So
Okay.
that's a significant hardship. We're already going narrow with the boathouse. It's 10 feet wide by 14 and a half feet deep. So we can't make it much narrower, so without having a useless boathouse that you're not gonna even be able to get into. And the other impact, or the other problem that we're having is that the way that the stairs come down, there's significant grading and retaining wall issues. So if you put the boathouse on top of that retaining wall, you can't even get into the boathouse. And that's another real hardship.
Right.
So we played with Darren moving this thing all over the place. And just couldn't come up with anything that would be usable or attractive or aesthetically pleasing for the rest of it. That would have been okay.
You've been working with Mr. Schwenke and he is in favor of the boathouse in the corner next to the neighbor's boathouse.
He doesn't,
He
he wants it
can't
on this
wait,
side.
yeah.
Yeah, he can't have favor of her.
And the other boathouses have been there for quite some time. There was a time when this process was a lot easier with boathouses and such. That's why they're there, and that's why they're the size they are, because there's grandfather, there was years where all of a sudden you could do it. You know, there's all sorts of reasons why other people have it on top of it.
Yep, and this is actually a house, so their house is 5 feet from the water.
Yep, there's a few of those normally.
Okay.
Thank you.
I do think you have a compelling argument, but I also think that that argument has to take place in Elkhorn. For us to override that recommendation there and that resolution, as Jim said, we'd have to state in detail why they were wrong. I can't do that.
I can't do that
either.
At this point.
Yeah. So, okay. So the resolution that's created for that was to approve the height, but to deny the side and view access corridor. That is what the Plan Commission came up with, so we need a motion on that.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, one more.
Just, previously, you had sent something back to the planning commission.
Mhm.
You know this. Would that be another option? I mean, I don't mind doing that. I'm not thrilled about it, but I think talking to the people at the county, they actually listen to what you say, even though you're
Yeah,
minimizing it.
but those staff people will be at that meeting. They have to be, because it's part of their
No, I
enforcement.
understand, but
Yeah.
that would just be,
Yeah.
I think that they didn't understand, they didn't know the rules any more than I did,
Mhm.
except for the one rule, and that was kind of my fault, but
Yeah.
it's my fault. Whatever.
All right.
Do you know if you're on the county's agenda already?
Yeah.
Do you know when that
But we
is?
can just delay it. Well, we had originally put it on for Wednesday,
Oh, okay.
so we just email the guy tonight and they'll move us back.
Yeah, it could be moved back. They will not act without, our action here. I don't know, to me, it seems like a do-over, but this is not a do-over where we have the say. We don't. We have a recommendation. And like I said, I think the arguments are very compelling that you have, but not enough for us to override that action that's already taken place.
If the board were to send it back, you're almost sending it back with instructions to the plan commission to try harder to fit it into a hardship.
And I would never do that.
That's hard.
I mean, they do they have their jobs and they have their positions.
They've had
I'm
plenty
not
of variances.
saying-
This is not new. This is not new to them. So, and I am happy to, you say that several members went out and looked at it. But like I said, I don't think we can override it. So, we do need a motion here. I don't know where it is. Anybody making one?
I'm looking
You got it? It's a partial.
Complex, right?
It says partial. Partial.
It's still really long.
Resolution partial.
It's on the second page. Right there above the signature. It's like indented.
Yeah.
So someone would need to make a motion to accept the height variance, but deny the, because you have to incorporate the reasons why the variances were denied, because they did not find a hardship on those two.
That says that's all in this resolution for partial approval petition variance right there. It says
Correct.
everything in here.
Everything in
So I
here.
don't need to specify it. I need to
Okay.
specify this and then I need to specify the lot, right?
So if you just read the indented part, it
Yeah,
should be
so I'll
correct.
make a motion, okay, we can do that. Discussion.
Other question?
Go ahead, yeah, you can make the motion, I have a question.
We'll have discussion after the motion. After the motion, second.
Yeah, motion by for the town board to approve the variance request for the height of the boathouse as stated in their request, deny the applicant's side yard setback variance request and deny the applicant's view access corridor variance request at North 9585 Horseshoe Lane, Mukwonago, Wisconsin, parcel number PWP 00011A.
All right. I'll second that motion. Discussion. Barb, you had a question?
Yeah. So if we also deny it and you have a appointment with the county on the 4th, can they override our?
We're advisory only.
County
Okay.
makes the decision.
Now,
Yeah.
if
Because
we deny it, he goes to the county and the county denies it, how long is it before he can come back?
He can appeal the county's decision.
Okay.
They have a process.
Gentle chat.
Okay.
Oh,
Didn't know that.
so
Thank
we have
you.
to amend it to read that?
Can I just,
It has to be amended to
Nick.
adopt the findings
Sigmund.
regarding hardship.
Okay. All right. You got another question?
yeah, Nick told me it's 12 months.
Okay.
He said you
You
can't
have
be
to
applied for 12 months
incorporate
and there's not.
the reasons why.
He also told me that they,
That
we
is
could
request
definitely
here
can,
because of
in this case,
the hardship.
it's not a given, but it's an important component.
Does
It's
that
not,
qualify for hardship? For those
That's
two?
what,
Yes, so.
and deny applicant's view and access corridor.
Do you have a
Actually, you should
motion?
just read this as added in.
He read it. All that needs to be added is that you adopt the hardship findings of the plan commission.
Okay, say that.
As I adopt the findings of the hardship findings for the planning commission. That's what you're asking for?
Yes. Okay, all right. So you,
You have a motion, a second.
you amended it. We need a second on the amended version.
Second.
Oh, Barb, second,
Jody. Jody.
first thing. Okay. Any further discussion on the board?
Nope.
On the motion, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed?
Nay.
3-1, motion carries. All right. Next one.
The McCarthys and the Blackburns are requesting a certified survey map approval for a land separation. Don Chaput and Chaput Land Surveys did most of the paperwork for the presenting. Most of the land that they're looking to work with is not actually in Walworth County. So this is kind of a dotting i's and crossing t's, it appears.
So I'll make a motion that the planning commission, that the town board of East Troy accept the planning commission's decision to approve the CSM request at N 7480 Bell School Road, Burlington, Wisconsin, parcel number PET 360000108.
No second.
All right, we have motion and second to approve that CSM discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. All right, and the third one,
The last one is the Lake Beulah Yacht Club. The applicant, Ron Jarecki, came in looking for a conditional use amendment to provide members outdoor seating for consumption of food and drink. The existing conditional use terms will continue as hours of operation being from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. with expanded hours for permitted special events only. It was noted that those events are things that come before the board and for approval every time that they have an event. He spoke for the request and explained that the total capacity for the yacht club, clubhouse, and patio would be 175 people with seating for 150 people. They will be adding gravel to some areas in order to add parking as requested by county zoning. The additional stalls are marked in the drawings provided with the packet information. The grayed out area shows tennis courts, and the provided are currently existing, and that was something that was noted during the meeting. Jarecki explained that the seasonal hours of operation are approximately from May 1st to October 31st annually. There are currently 180 households that are members of the yacht club. The planning commission did vote to approve the applicant's conditional use amendment as stated.
okay, the point of information on it, like it mentions there, anything outside those hours, you have to get a special permit here. And the other thing, the comparison to Double D's, that one, the applicant actually withdrew it. So there never was any action by the plan commission or town board on that one. This, I thought was pretty clean. Was there anybody that spoke in favor or against on that one?
Several members
Several members.
were there. The only person that spoke for or against was Mr. Sauce, and he spoke for it.
You mentioned it again here today.
He did.
So, okay. All right, need a motion. Somebody.
The only thing I noticed was this one, I mean, that was a good point that Mr. Jones brought up. I didn't make the connection there. But I did notice this was just from last week and went really quick. So that doesn't always happen for the planning commission.
It kind of depends on how much information is provided. And I'm hoping that the new applications are going to make that a lot easier because people know actually what to bring.
And again, conditional use permit, we can add conditions, but we don't approve it. County approves conditional use permits. This has an existing one. I didn't really see that big of a change of it other than you're talking about outdoor seating. Is that the only really change they're doing?
And then I guess they're putting some gravel up in the front and then in the back to kind of shore up the parking.
Okay, because they, when
And
they
that was
have,
at the advisement of the county. That was not necessarily, I think, something that they wanted to
Okay.
do.
all right,
Just a note, if I may, it is a little different because there already is a conditional use permit here, and I know that they can go till 10 o'clock. And I watched. I couldn't be here, so I watched when it was up. But as far as being different from Double D's, I can understand. I think I can understand why people are putting those two together because there were so many people against about some people's noise is other people, music is other noise. And you gotta, being up here, you have to understand both sides of it. And I think I really have tried to do that. And I think that the gentleman not just withdrew it, I think the gentleman was sick and tired of dealing with it. And I think that gentleman, he made that clear at these meetings.
I think he just went to McWanago.
He did.
But and I think people are putting that together because you have music at the yacht club, and I think it's great, and I think that this can be a great thing. But I think that we should really try to make it less of a headache for people to bring these businesses and bring. I mean, that was going to be a family friendly place. There's music. They have bands for weddings. I think that's awesome. But just say I think that was different. I don't. I believe there's. If they were going for the same concept of what the yacht club already has. I think that they wanted to do, and I think that would be a good thing for that space. But I just wanted to say my 2 cents about it, and I hope that the future can hold good things for some small businesses.
The yacht club isn't asking for outdoor music venue.
I didn't hear that.
I'm not saying that,
Food and drink.
but they can have music at a wedding, and I can be on the lake across almost to the sandbar, and I can hear it. But again, we're on a lake, it travels, but I don't think it's much different.
And they do pull special events permit. In fact,
And I
last
think
year,
that's great.
one was approved for a wedding in September of this year.
Yeah, no, and I think that's fantastic. I just want to, there are similarities that people are bringing together here, and I think it's awesome. And I'm not disagreeing with this. I'm voting for it, in fact. But I just want that to be in the record that hopefully our future can be brighter with businesses.
I just realized it's like 6 a.m. I think like when we talked about noise ordinance, that was generally 7 a.m.
But that's because
That's hours of
So-
operation. That's
Yeah.
that noise.
and they.
Right.
A lot of
Right.
the sailing is
Got
gonna
it.
start really
That's
early.
Yeah, got it.
In the morning.
Set up.
Six or
And
seven.
they're gonna have that many people there. Okay.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that the town board accept the planning commission's decision and approve the conditional use amendment for N9220 East Shore Road, East Troy, parcel number PET 9000001A.
I'll second.
Chad, second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. All right,
Thank you.
Bill owes
Thank you
you,
for
Bill
sticking
owes you a
around.
lunch.
Yeah, right.
Next. We're unfinished business. Revisit town hall usage deposit, chapter 1280 of the town code. So you put that in the packet, the 1280. And I looked at this a little bit after our discussion of last month, and I'm going, eh. But then it says right in there, this fee may be waived by a town board for any not-for-profit organization. You know, that other fee, you know. That's probably why we didn't do that, you know, because I don't think we ever had a for-profit request for the town hall here.
Nope.
So we're still back at the same place then. We had asked that the staff put together a form checklist, just, you know, to have some accountability for the place, because it's not, you know, they may pay for part of this building, but if they cause a problem, there's gotta be some accountability. That's how it started. I don't think this is an issue so much of money, because the money don't change hands if you do it right. Okay, by changing hands, I'm saying we take it, we keep it. I think just by having this, you eliminate that possibility in most cases, because most of the people that come here, they're return users. So what was the, I guess, the main reason why we have it on here, just to?
$250 refundable deposit was one. And
Yeah.
the other was, are there more than the, more rules of use than what's currently listed?
If we
That
revise,
Kim or Jean believes are necessary.
yeah, if we,
Yeah, I guess I thought we would have kind of had this red line based on the discussions that we had with the deposit form and the instructions to match up the documents of what's.
well, the document, the form would, if we revise, you know, this chapter, the form would become part of it if we accept the form. So you're right, then the language here has to represent what's on here.
Right.
That's most of it, right? So we'd have to ask for Attorney Mills to actually revise this, but the only
I
thing.
haven't seen a form
This-
with the
attached.
conditions.
It's in the last page.
There you go, right there.
Well, I saw it this afternoon.
We presented it last time too.
Yeah, I don't think anything
Presented
changed
before.
since last month.
No, it hasn't.
But was there, okay, is there any concern other than revising that chapter to match that, or are we still thinking of changing the form? Because we already discussed that at least twice.
So on the form, we removed the security deposit for now, right?
Right.
Yep. And I was gonna say, in the chapter, 12.80.060, once the PD's moved,
Yes.
Vince's stuff is gonna be gone. 'cause
Number
he'll be in
7
the
should
back.
be, I wrote down
Right.
moot, the strike
Right, yep.
7.
And I felt like, yeah, how much of that is our responsibility to move it or whatever, right? But yeah, so that would be removed.
So, I mean, I think it does need to be revised.
So
Are we getting rid of a deposit altogether then?
that's kind
I
of what
think so.
we're talking about.
I think that, well, what we decided before was that we were gonna give it a trial period to see if there were any issues with people being aware that they needed to be accountable and what the expectation was. And if it became an issue, then we would institute a security deposit. But again, just gets held, doesn't anything happen until after the meeting. I mean, they could give us $25 on January 1st for the entire year, or whatever that dollar amount is decided. And then get it back at the end of the year, just to give it back, you know what I mean? It doesn't
I'll
necessarily mean it comes out of
guarantee
their
you,
coffers.
my elections make more mess in this room than most people's meetings do.
Oh, I'm sure, among people.
So upon application, is it 0 for the time being or 25?
We
It's
discussed the
0
last
right
time
now.
it was 0, and then to move forward, and if it starts to become an issue, then we
Change
put
it, add
it,
it in.
change it, and put a deposit.
Yeah.
That's what we
Okay.
discussed. so.
Well, the fee though,
What about the usage fee
the usage
Yeah, we
fee as
never
it's
had
written,
that.
you know, it says at 25 and a 5.
per hour?
This fee
That
may
needs to
be
go
waived
away.
by the town board for a nonprofit organization. All we have is nonprofit organizations, right?
Yeah.
So, Either,
So I could
Yeah.
probably just eliminate that entire section.
yeah, it'd be another one to get rid of. So you're in effect getting rid of 1280.050, unless you want to keep the liability language in. And then rules of use, number 7, and fees removed.
Well, and I think we should attach the
The
form.
form
I
has
guess-
to be part of
I
it.
mean, if we want, I'd be happy to redline it, or, you know.
The form or the code?
The chapter 12 to match. I don't, if that has to be done by the attorney.
No, it doesn't
I
have to be.
think, like, under the applications for use, we would reference, right, this document, and you'll receive the checklist, and there's instructions there to return it, or whatever, yeah.
Well, to me, this is like an ordinance. Attorney's got to do it, but as far as the changes to give to them to create it, and then of course it's got to go to the website. Could be done, by Jim if you want.
I have all the changes now.
Well, and I would say that paragraph about contacting Gene Walter of our church on the checklist, that's gonna have to be eliminated, but we can provide that information as we give people,
The permit.
as we provide an organization a checklist, because you don't wanna have, say Barb isn't reelected or something like that, she doesn't want her name on there. Say, for instance, I win the lottery and I'm out,
Yeah, see ya.
I'm going with her. But you know what I'm saying, so that paragraph would come off.
So
Why don't you just say, please call the town hall at the number above?
Because it doesn't work after hours, Jim,
weekends,
there's nobody
it's
here.
Not gonna be answered.
This is when.
But you can leave a
Lakeview-
message though.
You could
And how do
do,
I get that message when I'm at home and they're trying to get into the building?
what about
Me.
3700?
I
Yeah.
see, okay.
They could call 3700.
But dispatch doesn't necessarily, if an officer's at a desk, that's why we gave our personal numbers. And I've
And
been
you
called
could
a couple
still
of
do
times.
that, but I think you
Right.
should get it off the form.
Right, take it off the form and we'll just provide that when we give the form.
Barb,
And Jean can modify that form for you and get you a copy of that, Jim.
Perfect.
Electronically.
Yep.
I would like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th line, garbage and garbage receptacles. I think it's great that they put garbage in the garbage cans. I think it needs to be taken to the dumpster out back, and I think that needs to be specified. I don't think it should be.
Depending on how much it is.
Well, but there
If they
are.
put food in there and then no one's gonna be in here for several days.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. You
Put it
take
in
it
the
to the
dumpster.
dumpster out back, it's not that big a deal.
30
No, it's
feet,
not.
but smelling up the building is more of an issue than the time.
That's what I was thinking.
When Todd walks from here to there, he walks right by it. So, but yeah, I would say it should be thrown in the dumpster. Nobody can,
Please take
Yeah.
garbage bags to the dumpster out back.
If they put in 3 pieces of paper during the meeting, that's
Well,
all they did, right? So we,
it says garbage. I don't think paper, white paper is garbage. Garbage is food remnants.
Food stuff.
Right?
Rubbish. Garbage.
Rubbish, garbage? Now you're getting me.
Common sense would say if there's only 3 pieces of paper, they don't need to take it out.
And,
Take-
and perhaps we can work on that verbiage to be something like, any
If
food
there's
waste.
food,
If you have food waste in the garbage, it needs to be removed and
Yes.
taken to the dumpster.
Thank
We
you.
can alter that language, because again, a couple of water bottles, no big deal. Half a cake or onions from a Subway sandwich, I mean,
That's gotta go.
and I've
Yes.
taken the garbage out more than once
Okay,
on a weekday.
all right. So, I think you have everything you probably need, right? But hold off until you hear more from anybody. You got any, anybody got anything else? Get it to you, probably, Gene, and then you'll, we
I'll run
get
it by
it,
Kim and we'll get it to
get
Jim.
it to Jim.
Just
and then we can-
motion to authorize me to do it.
Okay, need a motion. Somebody.
I authorize Attorney Mills to revise chapter 12.80 use of town hall, incorporating the form of usage into your modifications.
All right,
I'll second.
we have a motion and a second to authorize Attorney Mills to do that. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. All right, town hall moving process. You guys want to be closed to the public to reorganize records?
How long do you think?
How many?
I mean, we could be closed for any number of weeks because Kim, having been by herself for so many years, there are records and records and records that with the guidelines that are set forth could have been
Well,
discarded
2 months?
and say,
and should be.
yeah, so say, like, I always wanted to give Todd a file cabinet just for roads. So we can go in there and he's got a file for Army Lake Road, Maccabi, and all the way down the thing. And right now, the file cabinet is, I don't think you can squeeze another single piece of paper in it. And I know I have stuff from like East Shore Road. I mean, it's just, it'd be nice to put things together so that somewhere down the line, the next group of people can come in and say, oh, here's all the road documents. This road, Honey Creek Road, was done in 2024.
So maybe like 8 days?
It'll
Let's just say
facilitate
8
open
days,
records
8
requests.
Well, we're
hours, two of you, you know, combination.
But it's
Well-
like Fridays. We want to, you know, we
So I'm
have to
asking,
still
how
get our
many-
work done.
so I'll give, so, I mean, I'd
I
make a
would
motion
say
right
so.
now to give you, 2 months worth of Fridays, to not to exceed 2 months and then revisit it. If you think
That
you
would
could
be
do it
awesome.
in 8 days, right?
And I'm thinking,
Friday.
I'm
And that's
thinking,
something
don't
we
even
have to
put a
work
limit
with.
on it because
Yeah.
we
Right.
have documents, and Jen, if she's still here, can attest to this too, that, and this is for all three of us, there are documents that are boxes and boxes and boxes that need to be put into each parcel for
Yeah,
planning
sure.
commission.
I
So-
mean, the
I
bill,
would say-
she has probably, she could work for months filing building permits.
Oh, yeah.
and Individual, I mean,
And that,
Yeah.
and that impacts us as well, because I get those questions for open records requests. And then if we talk about getting our records updated for record retention timeframes, I would encourage not to put a time frame on it, because obviously we're not going to milk it. We're going to do our job, we're going to get stuff done.
So,
And when you are uninterrupted, things go much faster.
yeah, so let me ask you, if I want to make a motion on this, I want to make a motion for 2 months, meaning 2 months worth of Fridays to not to exceed that. And if you do need to exceed that, then you bring it back to the board and you look for more time if you guys think you need it, right? At least that gets everybody started. And it's only closed to the public. Everyone else is gonna be here, but it gives you
Yeah.
guys time to,
Yep.
so I'll make a
So we
motion.
can post it and people can plan around
Yep.
it.
Yep, I'll make a motion to have the town hall closed to the public to reorganize records for the next 2 months on Fridays. Starting next week or this week, or probably
Closed
next
on
week.
Friday, town hall.
No, we can't start.
When do you want to start all
I mean,
this?
we can't, I mean, I wouldn't start it probably till May, because the police need to
Starting
move.
the first
Kids
Friday
on
in May,
vacation. So right there is a Friday out.
second
so
Friday in May.
say, start May and June.
For the month of
May and June.
May, June.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so do we have a second on that motion?
Yep, I'll second.
Michelle, second. Discussion? Well, I put discussion, I'll say it does not affect Jen's operation. She's working Friday. She'll be working Friday. That ain't gonna affect it. I don't know how many records you're gonna be dealing with here, but you may have some days where.
She's
Yeah.
got, this is all
The building
three of
is
us.
closed, the doors are locked.
No,
What does that do for court?
court's separate.
Because
Court's on
court needs,
Thursdays.
people come to pay their bills to get their.
For May and
And
June, I
that's why we
suggest
post
looking
it.
at the website because it's closed on Fridays.
Just put your
Yeah.
sign right on the window that
Yep.
your
Yeah.
office is closed.
I mean, we have to take care of us and this and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
And
it.
It does
Apologize for the
include Jen.
inconvenience, slap her on the.
I got a
door.
call from, the judge and he said, no way. And I agree with him, no way. Now, if there's times when you have to, you make that, but you can put your sign on the window there that
Yeah, and the whole-
you're done. You know, there's no administrative offices, but
And she's never gonna get her filing done.
Cause she's gonna get all of our phone calls
Right.
and stuff like that. Bounced to her.
it'd be the same thing as normal, ain't it?
No.
It
No,
is.
because I answered.
No, all right. We got a
Give me a
motion.
second there.
Well, we got a motion in a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. New ordinance procedure.
Well, that's the easy one. If you
Need
look
more
under attorney report, I haven't had a free second to even start anything, so I'm asking that you table it till next month.
I make a motion, we table a new ordinance procedure till next month.
Second.
All right, motion second, discussion.
You're welcome.
Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. You're busy.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
That was all Joe.
None. Motion carried. Now Tyson and Joe, we tried, my plan is always 2 hours. We're at 2.5. And we actually had one last week or last month. It was 2 hours and 6 minutes, right? But 2 hours is the plan. 2.5 has been the average, though. All right. Attorney Mills report.
Yeah, first item is update on noise ordinance. I did talk to the chief. The reason why I asked Barb what's going on with county with their noise ordinance is to see if we want to delay a full comprehensive overhaul.
Yes.
The chief believes that we can get by with our current ordinance with minimal changes so that it reads, no person shall make or cause to be made any loud, disturbing, or unnecessary sounds or noise such as may tend to annoy or disturb another in or about any public place or park or any private residence. So instead of saying any public street, alley, park, or private residence, expand it to any public place. That covers everything.
And residents, you're saying.
And residences, yes.
So.
Private.
Anywhere in the town.
Yeah.
Basically is what the scope of this ordinance is.
Yep.
It's still going to be subjective as to whoever is out there making the call, but it doesn't have to be the chief. There's no set hours. We don't have to worry about decibel readings.
No, I'm okay with, I understand that, but I'm just saying, so you'd still keep it from 7 or 8 a.m. till 10 p.m.
No, there's no times in here at all.
Oh, I don't know. That would be all right.
Well, we're gonna find out the guidance.
Because that's what I was wondering. So how do you do it? So that's any time of day?
Right now, it could be.
I know, but, yeah, I mean.
Unless you have a suggestion.
Essentially, it's on a complaint basis.
I'm
No,
not,
talking
I'm
to the
just,
chief.
I'm
Can't give
just
you anything.
asking.
Go ahead.
My good friend John has a really nice stock car. It's the springtime, and he goes out, he's working on his car, he starts it up, he revs the engine a little bit, no big deal. 2 weeks from now, John's got his really nice stock car in the driveway. Every hour and a half, he's out in the driveway just giving her, all right, enough is enough. Under our current ordinance, I can go have a chat with John and go, it's 2 PM, this is the 4th time your neighbor says that you've been out here revving your engine, and hitting the glass backs and popping it off. Here's your warning, see you later. Hour later, he goes out, does it, I show up, I write John a ticket. The only change in our current ordinance that Mr. Mills is talking about is a one-word change, from street to place. Public street to public place. That's it. No rewrite. Our current ordinance would stay and read exactly the same.
Times.
Except for one word. No times.
The times would stay the same.
There is no time in
There's
it.
no time. There's
One
an
he
example that I've
proposed
given
that
is like 2 in the afternoon. Now,
Right.
11 o'clock at night, John's music's blaring. I'm gonna enforce the ordinance the same way as I would with John revving his car at 2 in the afternoon.
Get a warning.
You get a warning and then you get a ticket. And I go, Chad wants to crank the music and blaring out and rocking out. Get a warning, next time Chad probably gets a ticket.
The only thing is our ordinance, if we change the word street to place, doesn't say anything about warnings.
What about?
Is that's always going to be within your
That's
discretion.
an industry standard.
Right.
That's police work 101. Now, there is an occasion, just like with any occasion, we show up and you got a full-on band in your backyard, I'm probably not giving you a warning on that. And my officers probably aren't giving you a warning. We're probably shutting down your small mini concert in Miramar and writing you an ordinance.
But I could have a small mini concert before you change that word.
If you had a special event
Between
permit.
8 and 10, I couldn't go past 10 with my mini concert. But yeah, I do understand what you're saying, Chief. I'm just trying to rack it through. Maybe that's
What
another
about the
one.
water?
Maybe that's another one for
That's why I
the
wanted to
upcoming
change
board
the
members, I think.
public
Okay.
My
That,
opinion.
that word encompasses everywhere in the township,
Right.
Okay.
and so that's why I asked Mr. Mills to make that one word change
Yep.
from public street, public place.
Just making sure.
I do understand it, and like, I guess I get where you're coming, but boy, you're gonna be busy.
No,
I feel like,
I'm gonna
I feel like
ask.
you're gonna be more busy.
How many calls are you
times-
getting now?
Yeah, how many times have you, since you've been?
Most of it's
since
on the
you
lake,
joined the force?
right?
Most
4th of July.
Some last July and August, and all of them that I'm aware of, except for an exception to one loud music complaint in Miramar, all came off the water at 2 PM.
Correct, and that, I may or may not have been one of those folks. But what I'm saying is, I don't crank my music, and I know there are people that really crank it, but my music might bother someone else, but I barely have it on, but because I'm on the lake, so-and-so at this house is gonna call 52 times because I gotta go by the house and I'm playing my music. Like, where do you draw the line? And I feel for you guys,
That's
but
where, we went down and investigated and followed up and checked with neighbors, and we didn't issue any cases.
sure, yeah.
The one in Miramar, I think got a warning, we didn't have to go back there
Yep.
either, so we haven't written any noise ordinance citations
Mhm.
since September of 2022. Usually you deal with people in the right way, talk to them, reason with
Oh,
them,
yeah.
and you get them to comply.
Yep. I know you guys have done a great job with all of that, so everybody I've talked to, but, so when do the people that keep calling on a regular basis get a ticket? Sorry.
Different kind of noise.
I think that maybe this should be tabled if you guys.
So we don't have it
to-
on here for
It's not
action,
written.
right?
Anything on is for discussion or action, but I would need authorization to make that change. Although I did get previous authorization from the board,
Work
but
on, but we don't have one to look at and approve.
right,
So we could get one to our May meeting.
yes.
Yes.
If you.
This
authorize
isn't
them
a
to do
new
it.
ordinance. This is just a change to an existing.
But it changes our
We already
ordinance
authorized it.
significantly from not having a
That's what I'm
time, is
saying.
what I'm, is
So
my
then we
trying
don't
to get my
need to
head around is
No.
not
Authorize
having
them to
any
make this
timeline.
change.
Right.
I authorize Attorney
No, we
Mills.
already did
Sorry.
previously on that, so he's already good on that.
Good.
So we just put on the agenda for me to look at. And,
Thank you.
And then maybe we'll know more from the county too. from
Maybe,
the April 30th
Maybe,
meeting.
yeah, because they're looking at that. Okay, and of course, you already said additional time.
Yep.
A request for a new ordinance procedure draft. That is a ordinance to say how ordinances are created. And again, you didn't think that was a crazy intense one, but,
No, I just have not had time to do it yet.
okay.
I did actually block off time, I think the Wednesday after the annual meeting, just to hammer out an ordinance.
Well, you're requesting additional time, so I suppose we should make a motion to give you more to next month, right? Next month would be good?
It's tabled to next month.
Yeah, just a motion to table, so it's.
Yeah, because you, well, you have, yeah, we already authorized you to do it, so, yeah.
I'll make a motion to table that for the additional time request till next month for the new ordinance procedure draft.
I'll second.
Michelle, second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Church,
Aye, opposed, none, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, license and special event,
I have one special events permit for James Springsteen on East Miramar Drive for a family together on July 27th from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Chief has reviewed and approved.
I'll make a motion to approve the
27th,
special event on July 7th, 2024.
27th, sorry.
27th, my bad.
Oh, yep.
second.
Barb Church, second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
I
Aye, opposed, none, motion carries. All right, meetings,
Joe and Ty, this is, get this on your schedules. All right, April 16th at 6:30 is the annual town meeting, the electors. April 17th at 6:30 is the Booth Lake Park Board meeting. April 17th at 5 o'clock is the ETA ESD meeting at the firehouse. April 20th The compost site opens, it's every other Saturday through mid-November. April 23rd at 6 o'clock is the Tri-Troy meeting at the Village Hall. All board members attend that one. May 1st and 15th at 6:30 is the next planning commission. I forgot to put on May 4th from 9 to 2 is the e-cycle event here at the town hall. May 13th is the next town board meeting at 6:30. And May 27th, the town hall will be closed all day for Memorial Day.
Okay. Normally, we got two new board members. Normally, we had an orientation meeting with attorney and you.
We'll have to set that up.
So we have your emails, right, guys?
Yes.
We have your emails.
And they
Kim
will
does.
get town emails too.
Yeah, and this, 1 hour meeting, would you guess, like last week?
I think
It
so.
was 2. I think it was closer to 2 between Jim and I.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
going through
Okay.
budget
All right,
and everything
we'll have
else.
to send emails around to get that one scheduled.
What works for everybody.
I'm sorry.
Like an orientation, your new members, information from our attorney and clerk and me too. Just give you more information. There will be obviously training for the town association coming up in a month or two. They break it out into new members and continuing members. And it's like, usually it's a Saturday and it's like 7 hours or thereabouts. But once you get your name in the mix, you start getting those emails from other people. So, okay. And like I mentioned also, there's that zoning workshop, April 30th at the county campus, not downtown, but out for their law enforcement center. Okay.
The government center.
Or the government center.
Yeah, I was gonna say, probably not the law enforcement.
No,
Yeah,
the
there's
government center.
three
The
buildings.
old courthouse on the square.
Okay.
Second.
Chad, it's your last time.
He just said not the old.
So Michelle
No,
is.
it's the government center. It is the old courthouse.
Oh, okay.
On the motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none, motion carries. We're adjourned. You're welcome to watch us